Welcome to Snippets that help change our lives. Today, I want to talk about gossip because gossip has been known to destroy nations, to destroy churches, to destroy family, and to uproot relationship. So, today, let's just take a glimpse at this thing called gossip and the effects it can have on people. Gossip is a lethal weapon that have been used to destroy relationships, families, companies, churches, name it. It is a tool used greatly by Satan, by the devil. This is one of his greatest tools he uses to scatter, to destroy people. If we can understand and deal with what gossip is, it will go a long way towards healing broken relationships and prevent further damages in the Church of Christ and in the world in general. Gossip is a sin and it must be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with. To develop and protect proper relationships in our lives and in churches, we must deal with this sin called gossip. What is gossip, you may ask? Gossip is a casual and unconstrained conversation or report about other people. It involves details that are not confirmed and most times that are not true. The Webster Dictionary defines gossip as either a personal or a person who habitually reveals personal secrets or sensational facts, or as a rumor or report of intimate nature, mostly about people or about things. Romans chapter 1 verse 30 says a gossip is backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to their parents. It's just a complete pack of evil. One of the biblical words used for gossip means a whisperer. When a gossip wants to gossip, he's not loud. He whispers, speaks in soft languages so that the other person will not hear. Second Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 11 says, he calls gossip busybodies. Jobless people. They're just busy doing nothing. It reads, we hear that some among you are idle and disruptive. They are not busy, they are busybodies. People who are busy doing nothing but talk about people who are busy doing something profitable. These are the ones they call gossip. First Timothy chapter 5 verse 13 reads, besides, they get into the habit of being idle and going about from house to house. And not only do they become idlers, but also busybodies who talk nonsense, saying things they ought not to say. Gossips, busybodies. Gossips meddle in other people's businesses. They don't mind their business. They meddle in people's matters. They are people who babble, people who blah blah blue kind of people. They babble. This suggests that, gossip is empty talk, pointless talk, often not completely factual. Gossip is sharing information which damages another person's reputation with those who have no need to know. Most of the people gossips go to and tell stories to don't need the information they are selling. If the motive for sharing is to damage other people, it moves from being a gossip to slander. Slander means when you damage people's character. Slander means to give an evil report about someone. It is the action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. We have a lot of them around. Jobless people. Gossip is so evil that James chapter 4 verse 11 to 12 says that if we gossip, we make ourselves the judge of both our brother and God's law. usurping God's rightful place. The instrument mostly used, which is, I think, almost the only use for gossip, is the tongue. And we all know how powerful the tongue can be. James chapter 3, verse 5 to 6 reads, "Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boast. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by small sparks." Verse 6, "The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell." God, this tongue of ours is very powerful. James chapter 1 verse 26 says, "If anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless." So if you are a Christian or a born again Christian and you gossip, then you are not truly born again. You are faking it. You are just a bloody gossip. You cannot call yourself a Christian if you gossip. I have seen Christians and even pastors gossip. Sacrilegious. I have seen people I have held in high esteem gossip in such a way that I almost lost being born again. I questioned the God they serve, and it almost made me, to go back on my being born again. I have been in a gossip situation that almost changed my life, and the most likely place you find gossip is in the church. My situation was in the church. It is the most injurious situation you can find yourself, or you want to find yourself in. It hurts. That situation tore the church apart and redirected the lives of some members negatively. So you will find some members asking who church help. That church is a scam, all because of gossip. We have to be very careful because gossip is toxic. It is a destroyer and a scatterer. It's a fire that can burn a forest. Gossip often happens in our lives, in our relationships, in our family, and in our churches, in organizations, in offices. Some people don't have anything to do but just to find somebody that is diligent in his or her duties and begin to gossip about them just to bring them down and to destroy them. You can hurt people extremely by gossip. Their self-esteem gets destroyed and may lead, some to suicide when you hear people saying they are depressed. When I was in a situation like that in the office, I didn't most times want to come to work. In the morning when I wake up, I will say, I'll go back to that office. You have those wicked people, those witches. The same thing in the church situation I found myself. Sundays, I didn't want to go to church. One day I complained and my son heard me. And the small boy said to me, "Is it because of them you're going to church? Go to church and do what you want to do. They can be gossiping and doing anything they want to do. It shouldn't concern you." And I was taken aback at what the small boy said to me. But he was right. I shouldn't mind them. I should focus, because the plan of the gossip is to remove your focus from God or from what you are doing. Gossip is terrible. Families are torn apart from gossip. Our churches where we go to find refuge are not exempted from gossip. Sometimes it is even the pastor that starts the gossip. It's the pastor that is the gossip. And when the pastor infiltrates the congregation or the workers from the pulpits, you can imagine how widespread that gossip will be, or how effective it will be. That somebody that you look up to is the one that is sharing the information, the negative information. And most people who find themselves in this situation of gossip, find themselves wondering how the church has helped their situation. They grumble, they complain that I came to church to find succor, to find help, to find hope or peace, and I'm being destroyed. Some of them go away from the church and never go back again. There's a guy I know that left the celestial church, to come to the Pentecostal part of the church. He became born again. He left and went back to his select church because of what he has seen and what has been meted out to him. People grow bitter, blaming the leadership for not caring about their problems, and this makes them to distrust the church generally. We must see gossip as a serious sin and confess it to God, because the Bible says in Matthew chapter 12, verse 36, and he reads, I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account of every careless word they speak. Every careless word. So we have to be careful here. Gossip is as bad as the sin of adultery, homosexuality, or armed robbery, just as is written in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 15. It says, but let none of you suffer as a murderer, or a thief, or an evildoer, or as a meddler. Meddler here means a gossip, a slanderer. Gossip here is categorized with these other sins, even as we read in this verse. If you know the destructive power of our tongue, then you will confess and forsake the sin of gossip. You will struggle, you will make sure that you are not caught gossiping or listening to gossip or being in the environment where they gossip. Proverbs chapter 18:21 reiterates the fact that we have fire in our tongue. It says death and life are in the power of the tongue. A tongue carrying gossip is a death trap. If it's not controlled and tamed, it's a death trap. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 27 to 28 says, a worthy man digs up evil while his words are as a scorching fire. A perverse man spreads strife, and a slanderer separates intimate friends. I haven't seen gossip in action. I know it is difficult to trust and confide in a sister or a brother in the Lord or in the church. For me that have experienced it, I will have issues. I have issues with trusting. It will take me time to build trust in the midst of the comrades in the congregation because of what I have gone through. Gossip spreads contention and contaminates those who come in touch with it. Yes, you that is being gossiped to and the person that is gossiping are contaminated and they carry you around them. Anytime I find somebody fishing or I find a close friend gossiping, I am taken aback and I dine with that person with a long stick. I don't get close because I don't want to be caught in the wildfire. Proverbs chapter 26, verse 20 to 22 says, for lack of wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer, contention quiets down. Like of charcoal to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a whisperer are like dainty morsel, and they go down into the innermost parts of the body. We must avoid gossip situations because if you avoid it, you will not be caught in the wildfire. We must be able to control our own tongues too, if we must have control over our body and our life. You that is avoiding a gossip, do not be a gossip. A gossip has no respect in his eyes of the one who hears him or her. Yes. For you to bring yourself to that level of the gossip and you are listening to the gossip himself or herself will not respect you because you are now one. Because you are listening to him. So he categorizes you as the same with him. So you no longer have respect. James chapter 3 verse 2 says that the man who can claim that he never says the wrong things can consider himself perfect. For if he can control his tongue, he can control every other part of his personality. Until we see our tongues and know our tongues, know that our tongues are capable of terrible evil, and confess our loose tongues as sin, we will be unable to conquer gossip. It is a stronghold that has to be fought. You cannot do it on your own, so you need God. I want you to know that gossip cannot be conquered by our own strength. So we need the grace of God. James chapter 3 verse 7 to 8 asserts that for every species of beasts and birds, of reptiles and creatures of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by the human race. But no one can tame the tongue. No one. It is a restless evil and full of deadly poison. What a description of a part of our body. It shows how hot and how dangerous our tongue can be. Our tongue can be dangerous, it can be useful, it can be a blessing. But in this case of being an instrument of gossip, is dangerous. No one can tame the tongue. We need the grace and power of God. We must be determined not to gossip and be determined to seek the help of God. You know, gossip is very subtle. When they bring it to you, it just seeps into you. If you are not careful, you will participate, because these our ears are itchy to hear most times. Jesus said that the evil speech stems from our hearts, which are evil. So we need to clean out our closet, which is our heart, so that when gossip crosses, we will not absorb it. Matthew chapter 15 verse 19 equally says, for out of the heart comes evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, and slander. Gossip, it can come from the depth of your heart. Okay? Until we realize the wickedness of our hearts and cry out to God for his deliverance and mercy, we will never conquer the sin of gossip. So we need God. We need God's grace to help us. We must yield our tongue to God as an instrument of righteousness. If you don't know what to do with your tongue, start singing or listening to music, gospel music. You know why? When you are engrossed in listening to something, you will not hear somebody that is gossiping. When you are busy, you will not see and hear somebody that wants to gossip to you. We must commit ourselves to build others in Christ, not tear them down with gossip, whether they are present or they are not present. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 29 tells us not to let unwholesome word proceed from our mouth, but only such word as is good for edification according to the need of the moment, that it may give grace to those who hear. Let rotten words don't come out from your mouth. Don't judge people. Don't carry people, information to other people just to spoil them. Of recent, if somebody I considered a friend tried to do that, and I just shut the door. I shut the door totally. I can't deal with that in this season of my life. So I shut the door. So any gossip that floats through to you, shut them down. You will lose nothing by shutting whoever down, even if it's your relative. Black them out. Let us find and fill our lives with meaningful work. Let us be busy. When you're busy, you won't see all those. You won't want to know whether a gossip is around. You won't want to listen because you're busy. Find something to do. Don't allow idleness. Whether you are a man or a woman, it takes time and energy to spread gossip. So if you want to avoid the problem that gossip brings, fill your life with meaningful work and service for the Lord. Get busy. Refuse to listen to those who want to spread gossip and do not be a gossip. Proverbs 20 Verse 19 states, he who goes about as a slanderer reveals secrets, therefore do not associate with a gossip. The Bible said it, I didn't say it. Do not associate with a gossip. If you listen to gossip, you'll be tempted to pass it on. You know that word, have you heard? I heard. If you refuse to listen to it, you won't have fuel for that fire of gossip. So don't allow it. A gossip will contaminate you with damaging information, which may hinder you from relationship that can help you grow in life. Be discerning. Be alert. There are different types of gossip. There's a gossip that is a spy. This spy fishes for information to peddle, to carry out, looks for secrets, searches for secrets about you to spread as a spy, a type of gossip. Then there's the grumbler, who is a whisperer, always grumbling, will come and grumble to you about somebody so that he can carry whatever you tell to the other person. A whisperer. Have you heard? I heard that Lagbaja did this, Lagbaja did that. A whisperer, always grumbling. Then there's the backstabber. They're the most dangerous. They will be smiling with you, laughing with you, putting their hands in the same pot with you, eating with you. Then they will carry your life story to another person. They will stab you right in the back and grind the sword that they are using. They are backstabbers. They go about stabbing their friends and family behind their backs and knocking people's heads together. Then there's the chameleon. You find these ones in the body of Christ in church. They pretend to be born again. They are not born again. They want something from someone. So they take information from one to the other just to curry favor. They are not born again. They are plenty. They are plenty. Chameleons. The busybodies. These busybodies, they don't have anything to do. So they acquire the act of gossip and they keep busy gossiping, going from one place to the other, gossiping. Proverbs chapter 20 verse 19 says, he who goes about as a slanderer reveals secrets, therefore you should not associate with a gossip. Don't associate with a gossip. I'm repeating it to emphasize it. Don't associate with a gossip. The Lord admonishes us in John chapter 13 verse 34 to love each other. If you love yourselves or you love each other, you will not slander those that you love. Love wants the best for others, and that means guarding their reputation, keeping their secrets, not telling people, exposing them or throwing them out to the boss or under the boss. And Matthew chapter 7 verse 12 says too, we are to do to others what we will want them to do to us. Love does not harm their neighbor. Love, somebody that loves you will not gossip about you, will not harm you, will not slander you, will not backbite you. If we want to develop and protect loving relationship, we have to deal with the sin of gossip. First, we need to confront it in our own lives. Make sure that we ourselves are not willing gossips. We are not instruments to be used as gossip. Then we have to deal with gossip in others. After we have dealt with ourselves, we deal with gossip with others by refusing to listen to them, refusing to waste our time listening to gossip, and by gently correcting anyone who tries to spread gossip to us. We should use the time for gossip to tell the story of Jesus Christ. Gossip about Jesus. Tell the story about Jesus Christ. Use it as your gossip time. Engage yourself with that gossip. Tell the story of Jesus. Colossians chapter 4 verse 6 reads, let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each other. You will know how to talk to each other, how to address each other, how to honor each other, how to honor people by covering their secrets and not spreading it out. Let your speech be gracious. It is very important. Once your tongue becomes itchy, bite it. Let the pain keep it in check. Flee from gossip. I am Dr. Eunice Ojiodiakose. Until I come your way again, reject gossip and the person that wants to gossip to you. Shalom. Peace.